how many times, Mac, have you met somebody who physically strong, but emotionally weak, sensitive?
Yeah, I can't count the amount of times.
Maybe it's the majority.
You know what? I don't think you're off track there. When it could be the majority, the physically strong and mentally or emotionally weak. I don't think you're off track there.
Well, let me ask you something.
By saying that it could be the majority,
because I didn't grow up being the biggest kid in the world, so I never learned to rely upon stature for things. But if you've always been kind of that big kid or whatever, and you were always playing football or doing things like that, you can become reliant upon those things, and then you don't necessarily build up the emotional or mental side. Whereas a kid like me and even you before your transformation, every day at public school was like being hazed in a fraternity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was bullying.
Yeah.
Bullying there is a benefit to a degree.
To a degree. Absolutely.
Because it does prepare you for things.
I know I've grown from it, from getting bullied and knocked down.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was already starting early on in life, realizing that, holy crap, man, I need to get tough, but not like lifting weights, getting bigger and stronger, faster and being a better fighter, but just able to even put up with, tolerate that kind of negative or crass behavior from another individual. And it was either sink or swim for me when it came to that.
Well, you didn't, in school, there was no safe spaces. There was not everybody got a trophy.
Right.
All the stuff that we all say now. So there was not a lot of protection. You didn't have a lot of options. Your parents weren't around. Oftentimes, you get bullied and you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because what qualified as bullying now didn't qualify as bullying then.
No, I mean, ours was classic bullying, where you got pulled, you got stuffed in a locker, punched after school, chased down this. How many times were you chased down the street?
Yeah, I was chased quite a few times. Yeah.
And you learn to run.
You learn to either run or scale a fence, or you also learn that I deliver a newspaper to that guy's house. If I could make it to his front door, and knock.
That's right. Yeah. You know, this is a kind of a side note, but I was talking about this to my kids one time. I remember several times, especially with like baseball coaches and whatnot, or neighbors, like single guys who were probably in their 20s at the time because we lived with a single mom, and we would literally go into their apartments. Like I'd go hang out at my coach's house, and it would be me and my coach. I was never touched. I was never anything. You didn't think anything of that. So yeah, if you knew certain neighbors that if I can just get to their house, that's basically like getting to family. In a way. Yeah. But that's what bullying does. But you didn't know as a kid that these things were preparing you for anything. I mean, it's kind of vogue now for us, for our generation, to pick on. We were just talking about millennials offline, you know, because everybody's kind of ridiculing Gen Z, millennials. But in actuality, there's some really quality traits in some of these next generations. There's a lot of quality people. Again, I know it's popular right now to kind of pile on these generations, but no, there's some of the good qualities and things that we saw in our generation are still there, you know, in kids today.
Yeah, some of them. But it's our duty and responsibility to pass those things down to as best we can, you know, and that's in the wake of all of the like internet fodder that's out there and everything. We need to be able to somehow bridge that gap, get through that fodder, and still have a positive influence on those coming up, the next gens.
Right.
And it's tough to do, man, because there's a lot of fog out there right now.
Now one thing I'll say about you, and I've met a lot of guys like you who are on social media, you've vocalized, I know many times to me and probably publicly as well, that you're very conscious of the fact that young people, even little kids, are watching your content. So there is a very real attempt by you to do your part with just your social media platform, but being a dad, being someone who's worked with a lot of people one-on-one, I mean, how do we toughen up, if you will, without getting ridiculous, like maybe somebody's, overbearing dad was?
All we have to do is set that example. So, for instance, understanding that I have a lot of little kids following, for instance, my basic dude stuff.
Right.
I know I have a duty and responsibility to present them with good, clean, and fun content, but it's going to make them tougher too.
Right.
Because what they're seeing is a sound character, somebody who's committed, all this stuff. And the toughness isn't necessarily about me working on a heavy bag,
Right.
Shooting guns, that kind of thing. It's being able to prepare a meal, make
Right.
a good cup of coffee for my bride,
Right.
Make your bed in the morning, being able to tie a double Windsor tie,
Right.
those kind of things. So I appreciate the position that I'm in that I get to positively influence a lot of younger people. I'm talking like some of them are little, like 5 years old up to teenagers.
Yeah.
And they'll send me examples of their basic dude stuff videos all the time. And it's great, being able to pass that kind of mindset down to them.
Right.
It's very fulfilling.